Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to test episode 2 on
Off
Call. We're two doctors in LA. I'm an internal medicine hospitalist. Joe is a critical care physician in LA. And we decided to do this podcast. First, disclaimers. Do not take any of our medical advice.
It's not medical advice. It's overgeneralization.
We're not. Even if we say something medically, we're playing characters here.
Medicine is personal.
Yeah. I mean,
should never be taken from podcasts.
Do not take any advice from us unless you're in the hospital. We're actually good doctors.
Yeah,
we're just here to like shoot the breeze. I was gonna cuss, but you can't cuss.
Shoot the breeze is actually a good term.
Yeah. Okay. So disclaimers: no medical advice. Our email offcallpod@gmail.com. That's offcallpod@gmail.com. We're Joe and Mike, and we're going to try out an intro on this one. Tell us what you guys think.
Did you make this?
No, I bought this.
You can buy these?
This is a non-royalty music that you could just use. But we got to put stuff over it.
I like it.
I think it gets you pumped up. We're off call. Let's test some camera angles. Alright, welcome to Off Call. Let's fade it out.
With that intro music, you cannot be monotone. It's already a good time.
Yeah, I know. Now we're here to party.
Yeah.
So this is our second episode, test episode. We're still trying to figure everything out. I'm Mike. That's Joe.
I'm Joe. We're going to talk about my story this time, which is going to be difficult because I've never really talked about my life in a role like this. When would it ever come up?
I don't know. Nobody really cares, and nobody ever wants to ask you anything.
Why
but
would we think people want to listen then?
I don't know. We're going to try to punch it up.
All right, good.
All right, where'd you go to? Let's do high school.
High school, I went to a Catholic high school in La Cañada.
Oh, yeah, La Cañada.
Different. I got to say, I don't recommend an all-boys school or all-girls school.
It was all boys?
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
I don't recommend 4 years of that.
Is that why you're so bad at talking to women?
That's why I'm so bad at talking to women typically, yeah.
Wow.
You can blame it on any part of my life. But typically, yeah, I blame it on my all-boys Catholic high school. It was a good school. It was very extremely pressuring, pushing towards ambitious routes. You always had to be involved in some kind of extracurricular. And it wasn't so much as somebody breathing down your throats because everybody had that some sort of ambition. And I think that kind of pushes us towards, especially in those younger, more influential years, towards more higher callings.
Yeah.
But going into medicine was not like a given for me. I kind of started off thinking, hey, what do I want to do? First is to get into a good college. So out of high school, I thought, hey, I can apply and get into, a Cal State. But I really wanted to be at the UCs.
Yeah.
So I
UCs are where it's at.
Yeah, it really was. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'll go to a community college for 2 years.
Which community college?
Glendale Community College.
Oh.
Close to home with, a lot of this people with the same culture as me.
If you guys didn't know, Joe is Armenian.
Yeah, so obviously Glendale Community College, you need a passport to get in.
How many Armenians were in Glendale Community College?
I mean, we can just say all.
All? Were there non-Armenians?
I think it's more like how many people were not Armenian at Glendale
Community College.
It was a great school. I mean, I actually have some of my preferred professors from Glendale Community College over even the UC Irvine professors.
Oh, yeah.
Smaller classes, it was, a lot more attention for each individual. And I felt like, it was a great jumping off point for me, especially coming out of high school. You don't quite know what you're going to do in your life. And
so you never wanted to be a doctor as a kid? Like growing up, you're like, I want to be a doctor.
No, it was kind of like a goal after. It was a goal after I got into college, and it was sort of like the biology classes, and I realized that I really like biology. I really like, being involved in like patient care. And that was through volunteer work at different hospitals. And I realized that maybe this is what I want to do.
Where'd
And the
you,
volunteer work wasn't because I wanted to be a doctor either. It was just like, hey, where can I get volunteer work? I did like Tom Sawyer camp I did for a year, which is a summer camp for kids. Because I always liked kids. I actually thought I was going to be a pediatrician, a lot like you.
My mom and sister said you would have made a great pediatrician.
I was actually going into medicine originally because I thought I was going to be, involved with kids, and that came from like that Tom Sawyer camp, that volunteer work I did there, and it was just a summer job. But
Wait, what is Tom Sawyer camp?
it's a summer camp for kids.
Yeah.
Like they're, kids that have parents that work and want to get the kids out of the house and do something that's a little bit different. We went to pools, horseback riding, beach.
I never
Played
knew
at the
you
park.
did that.
Yeah. It was a full day thing. It wasn't like a couple hours. It was like from 8 a.m. till whatever afternoon.
That sounds
2 or 3
awesome.
o'clock. It was a great experience, especially at that young of an age. It kind of introduced me to kids, and because I don't have nieces or nephews that are young, so it gave me that sort of experience. And then when I started volunteering at the hospitals as just another extracurricular, I realized I actually kind of want to be in the medical field. And then once I got into GCC, I did the whole UC route. I forget what it's called. But basically, if you go to a community college in California, they kind of have a road to get to a...
Yeah. I thought I was going to do that. I thought I'm definitely going to community college. And then I don't know if I was like legacy, because both my brother and sister went to UCLA, straight in. I'm like, I thought I was going to UCLA, but they're like, nope, UC Irvine.
Great school, UCLA.
I know.
But UC Irvine is not bad.
Yeah, I know.
Not bad. So then when I applied to the UCs after that, they kind of just choose one that you're going to get into as long as you meet those credentials, meaning like B or above in your organic chemistries, B or above in like the basic biologies and that sort of thing. And then you're just overall GPA. But I did really well in community college. So when I started getting the good grades.
Were you a good student like before in like high school?
High school, I wasn't. What is a good student? Above
like
3.0?
high GPA. No, like
I was
4.0.
I was never 4.0, no.
Me neither.
Never 4.0.
I know. So listen, kids, if you're applying and you were pre-med, yeah, it's better to be 4.0.
Always
but
better.
There's always a road to medicine.
Yeah, I never thought that was going to be my biggest, hold on anything. My high school GPA. I never thought that would actually have anything to do with how I would do in my life and career, and I never let it define me. And so that's why when I went to community college, I was like, hey, focus, get these prerequisites done, and get into the college you want to be in. That's what I did. For 2 years, I was at Glendale Community College, then moved into UC Irvine with my two best friends from GCC. So
who were they?
Arthur and Emin.
Arthur. Yeah. He's gonna come up. He's one of the craziest people I've ever met. Through Joe.
Yeah. But when we went to college, it was just like a natural progression with our friendship because we always hung out together. And because I had friends from high school that were in colleges, I was still very much involved in I had friends that were in fraternities, and I would go to fraternity parties because of them. And
so you never joined a fraternity?
No.
It's better.
I did go to the rush weeks and stuff, but I absolutely did not want to join after going to those rush weeks. It was kind of the bigger turnoff. The rush week is typically the time when you feel like you want to be somewhere, right? It's when you figured out you wanted to be in fraternity, right?
I'm so embarrassed that I admitted I was in a fraternity, but it was the guys that I was with, like my best friend. The fact
that you kept that like secret for this long,
I know.
Shows how much you're embarrassed by it. You shouldn't be embarrassed by it.
You met my friend Wonky at my bachelor party.
Yeah.
He's one of my best friends. Was my roommate,
and he was in the fraternity with you.
He was, and then all the guys like that plastic surgeon that I mentioned, Nick, he was in the fraternity. But most of us were degenerates.
I don't think people are going to be as judgmental as you think. Some things that you keep secret and some things that you judge yourself for, hilarious. You once got a picture painted for him. You want to talk about that one?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about the picture of Kurt Cobain. Are you talking about Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, of course. What other?
And then a girl stole it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
She walked into my apartment and just took it.
Yeah. So then once I got into UC Irvine with those two friends, I didn't need that sort of fraternity life because our apartment sort of became that.
And you lived in Park Watts?
Park Watts, that's right. Yeah,
I remember Park
yeah.
Watts.
We had a nice apartment on the first floor that was sort of secluded, so we were able to do things that we shouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah.
And again, it's a lot like your story where our focus was primarily on having fun.
So what did you guys do if you weren't in a fraternity? Like,
we had great groups of friends, and we would meet people, and it's not just the classes that you would meet them in, it's outside of classes, not even necessarily UC Irvine students, but other young people that were in the same sort of boat as us. And because there was three of us very social, very outgoing guys, it was never a night where we didn't have somebody over. And that was kind of what made it a little more interesting was you would have smaller groups instead of having 15 guys.
yeah, jerking around.
That's right. You would have just us three, and we had great bond and great chemistry, and that sort of was what made us a house to come back to. I remember going to fraternity parties and actually taking a lot of the people that were at the fraternity parties back to our place.
Oh yeah,
have like the after party.
Females?
All the above.
Oh, even gentlemen. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like we were trying to have a good time. It wasn't necessarily like, hey, only females. There's people that were, cool and wanted to have a good time. We would take them to our house after party till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then, somehow make it to class. And those were the days where you could make it to class after drinking all night and sleeping for 2-3 hours. Those were the times when you could be 19 years old, 17 years old.
Now I can't drink anymore. I'm such a late weight. If I drink like I did in college,
no,
I'd be like shitting blood for a week and curled up in a corner.
We used to drink during the day so hard that we used to pass out late afternoon and then wake up and do a second round where we'd go out that time and drink again.
Yeah.
And that was like every day for an extended period of time. Not healthy.
Okay, so you got to UC Irvine.
That was at UC Irvine. I enjoyed my time at UC Irvine, got a biology degree, and then kind of that off 6 months after UC Irvine, I studied for the MCAT.
Yeah.
And during that studying, I was taking a course in Northridge, and it was by chance that a couple of my friends actually, who were going down the same road as me, and hence friends from high school, decided that they were going to apply to recruiting med school. They got in. So they came up to me and they're like, hey, you want to go into medicine? Like, they're like, why don't you do this with us? It's a great school. They gave me like the background of it.
Yeah.
And then that same day, like while we were hanging out, I applied with them. And then not too long after that, I sort of got the acceptance. Well, I sort of got more inquisition in the interview. And then after that, I got into AUC. And then that's when we met.
Yeah. And then we met at AUC. So was it like other Armenian people that...
No.
Oh.
No.
Really?
You remember Kevin and Corey.
Oh, yeah. It was Kevin and Corey.
Kevin and Corey. I mean, I live with them. Yeah. We went to med school with them. They were part of our crew.
Got it. So
they were my friends from back home. We came together.
They were from La Cañada, right?
La Crescenta.
Yeah,
La Crescenta with me. We're all three La Crescenta boys.
Ah.
And then we knew each other from a long way back. And then we went into med school together. And I lived with them the entirety of our island venture.
Did you do well on the MCAT?
Again, what's well? I think it's well enough, but not well enough to offset a non-4.0 GPA into getting into Caribbean American med school. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So if you're your MCAT score and your GPA are big, set-offs for how you get into your medical school, and it was not enough to offset. I wasn't a bad student. I was in the 3s, but I was not a 4.0. And typically with a university like UC Irvine, where the entire, like half the university is biology, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of biology, a lot of pre-med. I remember one lecture where, a physician came and, was kind of asked the class, how many of you are going into medical school? And almost every single person in the class raised their hand. He's like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Only probably 10 of you.
I actually did not graduate with a biology degree.
When did you graduate?
I did public health.
So my roommate did public health too.
Who? Arthur?
Arthur, yeah.
Arthur did public health.
Yeah.
What's he doing now? Is he a nurse?
He's a nurse. Yeah.
Wow. We should have Arthur on the podcast.
He'll come on. I'm sure he'll come on. I'm sure he'll enjoy it. I'm sure we'll enjoy him on the podcast. You want to throw a wild card into it?
Yeah.
He'll enjoy being that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention, we're going to have guests on here. It's just not going to be us talking.
Yeah. More interesting people.
Okay. So you went through UC Irvine.
And then once we got to AUC, actually the first few months, if you remember, I was like almost homesick. I had a good group of friends at home. I had my family. I have a very close-knit,
I remember that.
I have a very close family. Being Armenian, you have all your cousins, aunts, uncles. You used to being around them, and then you kind of get taken away from that. And it was a really tough transition for me. And then I was almost irresponsibly negative about the entire experience.
I remember when I first met you, you're like, oh, I'm just like here. We're going to get off the island. This is just like doing my time here. Yeah, I'm like, no.
Wrong way to look at it. And that's what it really drew me to you significantly, because you were the same sort of boat as me. Good family, good friend group. But you had a different outlook on when you started.
So I saw my sister go to a Caribbean med school, and she was having the time of her life, and I was following that path, and I'm like, she told me, like, just enjoy it. You're going to meet the best people there. So I went in full-fledged. I got my house on the beach.
That was the right thing.
And I'm like, we're just good. I'm finally here doing what I want to do. I'm learning what I want to learn. I'm doing well. I'm trying hard. I'm doing everything. Like, I'm going to savor every moment. But when you got there,
it was the absolute opposite, because a lot of my experience is very different than yours, because you had people around you that were sort of introducing you to things before you got there, but I never had that. I was one of the first to graduate from a undergraduate degree in my entire family. So
really,
yeah, my entire family, like extended family too. So it's not like I had uncles or anything in this sort of like
so there's no other doctors in your family?
No.
Really?
No.
Your brother's an
I'm
accountant.
telling you, we're not even undergraduate degrees in my family. Like, not even like undergraduate degrees.
Wow.
Yeah. So then once I, so it kind of paved the road for myself. So a lot of how I progressed was my friendships during those experiences, like my friendships during GCC, my friendships during UC Irvine, and definitely my friendships during medical school. That's why I called you and asked you about every single little thing.
No.
You seem to have every bit of knowledge before things came up. But that's why, it was good to have you guys in my life. It was very important for me, and, it helped me progress through med school, and med school was exactly like you said, an amazing time.
Yeah,
Probably
looking back, was it one of the best times of your life?
I mean, how can you can't even describe it, because it becomes like, you're working hard, you're, passing, well above passing, but you're also, having a great time with the best people you've ever met,
Yeah, you did well in med school, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I remember one time, and do you remember biology? No, neurology, Dr. Dimas Squida.
Oh my God.
We had our first block exam, and you got 100%.
Did I really?
Yeah. It was like a small test. It was probably like a 20 question, maybe
of course, that
30
would be the
question
one.
test.
That would be the one I get 100%.
And you were so high and mighty. You're like, I got 100%. And then the next test, everyone did bad on.
I had a t-shirt that had 100% on.
Yeah, everyone did poorly on. And then you're like, I got 100% on the I'm going to go talk to her. Like,
there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
I go from
and you're
100.
like, I got 100% on the first test. How is this possible for the next test? And I'm like, Joe, you were so lucky you got 100% on that test.
I did a lot of growing, and you know what? There was a lot of that. Is exactly that. I want to say shit talking, but I shouldn't. Are we after 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of shit talking from you guys that really humbled me in a lot of ways.
You're like, I'm gonna go talk to her. Like, you never talked to a professor in your life.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It's true. Never.
But yeah, she was a great neurology professor. That was what made me really like neurology, like looking where the lesion is in your brain and like trying to figure out.
I love neurology. We do a lot of neurology, a lot of strokes and hemorrhages, and in ICU we almost get all of them. Anything past TPA we take.
Past TPA.
Oh, TPA and above.
Oh, okay.
thrombectomy and those sort of things. We watch them for at least 24 hours. But
Yeah.
anyways, so then we did medical school. Great time. I mean, no complaints there. I would never change my course through the Caribbean island.
Would you go to an American med school?
Would I go?
Like, if you had
Would
to
I
do
change?
it again?
No. Because again, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's
really
hard to
happy.
say in the moment. Like, obviously,
If you
I
asked me
got
when I was
in-
19, I would have gone.
yeah, if I
right.
got into an American med school, I
Looking back on it, I don't think I've minus anything.
definitely would have gone.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But now looking back, I would do it again.
Do it again.
I mean, sometimes I want to go back to the island.
It's not going to be the same. I don't
It's
think.
not.
No.
That's the thing you learn in life. You try
Actually-
to catch lightning in a bottle again, and it's never the same.
Actually, our friends are getting together at St. Are you going to that?
In St. Martin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Howard's going at the end of this month.
You're not going?
I mean, if you would go, I would go.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time off at that
Yeah.
time in particular.
Critical care.
It's shift work again. It's shift work. It's great. It's fantastic. But when your time is off, that's the time I could make to go to the Caribbean island. But it happened to be at a time that I wasn't off.
Yeah. But we would have the time of our lives.
Oh yeah.
Me, you, Howard, Max.
But we would take the kids.
Yeah, we would take They would love it. My kids would love it.
Come on. We could get a big house on the beach in
Yeah.
a nice gated area.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't love that? Go to nice restaurants on the French side.
And then go to the PR. Just kidding. You guys don't know what the PR is. If you're from AUC, you know what the PR is. But anyway, so your time on the island grew on you, and then it was time to get off the island.
Time
Past
to
the
get off the island.
comp.
Past the comp. and
Last
then
episode we talked to was one of the greatest days
fifth
of our
semester
life.
was the greatest time of our lives.
Yeah.
Even before the comp, like you said, the stresses were high. Your nerves were high. You knew that the pass rate was lower, and you just kind of like didn't believe in yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I was the same way. I was always like I felt undeserving for a long period of time with these sort of tests, and I would go in nervous, but we did well. We passed the comp. Our entire friend group passed the comp, and it was like 2 weeks before graduation. Right?
Mhm.
It wasn't that long before graduation, right? Four weeks.
No.
maybe?
After the comp, you just phoned it in. We
Yeah,
were like,
That's right. We just had a great time.
yeah.
And then you get off the island, and then you have to study for step one. So it's a completely different study.
Yeah,
And at
we
that
all-
time, step one was not pass fail. It's pass one. Step one was actually a
Yeah,
significant number
I
because
know.
it decided where you were going for residency.
Exactly.
Decided what you can get into, what you can't get into.
And we all went home and hunkered down and studied for STEP.
That's right.
And you got to go to a testing center and then just take this test that determines.
Yeah,
I mean,
your future, really.
I mean, there's so many.
Because there's no going back. It's not like an MCAT where you're like, hey, if, I do terribly bad, maybe I pick a different road. But you're already past med school. So now your step one decides what kind of physician you're going to become. So
Yeah.
the stress is even higher, and particularly during the times when they scored it, which is why maybe it's better that it's pass, no pass.
It is. I would have loved it being past fail. I mean,
When I heard
think,
it changed, I was like, wow.
What did I get on step one? It was probably like
300 was a good score, right?
I was probably like
No, you were-
225,
No,
230.
I don't think so. I think you were higher than that. I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
remember what a good score was. I don't remember what a passing score was.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But anyway, I mean, we all went home, hunkered down, studied for the step, and then we all took it, and then it was time to do clinicals. Where was your first clinical rotation?
New York.
New York.
Yeah, I did it with you.
Was it peds?
It was, God, let me think. Family medicine. I went to the Bronx.
Oh my God,
you know
I did
what's
that.
funny? That Joker staircase?
Yeah.
That was my first rotation in medical school. I used to walk those Joker stairs up to the Ogden Clinic
Oh my God, I
every
remember
single
that.
day.
You just unlocked a memory.
Yeah. And then how many years later? 7 years later, that Joker movie came out, and it was the same staircase.
Yeah.
Now that staircase, when I was walking it was baby diapers, trash. You know, there's a lot of gang presence. I remember walking with a red button-down dress shirt to work one day, and the nurses and everything were like, "You walked through the Bronx in a red shirt like that?" I was like, "Oh." So I walked back in a wife beater.
I remember we moved you into your apartment in the
That's
Bronx.
right. And you guys were all
All right, we had technical difficulty. Oh wait, All right, we had technical difficulty. We're good to go again. But yeah, we moved you into the apartment. You live like across from some random park in the Bronx. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and you're on the first floor. I'm like, bullets are gonna fly through your window.
Yeah, yeah. I was right across the street from the park, and my window where I slept, like my bed was next to that window.
Yeah,
Was right across the street from that park, and everybody had a lot of distress when they come into my apartment because of that reason.
dang.
But it was fine. I'll tell you what, though, that park was popping at night. I would never, I
Really?
didn't go and hang out, but it was popping all night, 2, 3 in the morning. I slept with just music and
Yeah, like Latin music.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Barbecues until 2, 3 a.m. What do you guys?
Now that I remember it, I mean, my first rotation was family medicine in the Bronx. And I mean, God bless them. These residents that
Yeah,
were doing family
definitely.
medicine in the Bronx,
Definitely.
it was crazy. Bronx, Lebanon. We were in at Montefiore.
There was a shooting after we left in
Yeah.
the hospital, unfortunately.
But
I
we
think-
leaned into the Bronx. I would get a Spanish coffee in the morning.
That's right. I did too.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that was. Just a sweet coffee.
Yeah. Very sweet and cinnamony coffee.
Yeah. It definitely was my favorite coffee. Maybe
Yeah.
to this day. I don't know where you can get a Spanish coffee anymore.
I don't know. Maybe East LA.
Okay.
We can go there. We'll do a field trip.
But yeah, Bronx, Lebanon. I did Staten Island. Like I
Mhm.
said, I did pediatrics at Staten Island. A friend of mine had an apartment over there, and he happened to do a rotation in the Bronx at the same time. So
Mhm.
we just switched places. I had a great time in Staten Island, and but spent most of my time in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part, my apartment was in Upper West Side, and you were Upper East Side.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you used to tell me like, "Hey, okay, we'll walk towards each other, and then wherever we meet, like, and that would be a halfway point." And then I would get like past the park, and I call you. I'm like, "How come you're?" You're like, "Oh yeah, no, I haven't even left yet."
Yeah. Just come to my house.
Just come.
Yeah, we were supposed to
Just
meet
finish the
halfway
run.
in Central Park, and we never met because we were on like the same. I was on 93rd. You're on like 80
man, you
something.
used to come to my apartment and just shit on it.
Yeah, wasn't even it was
It
like
was
a
not.
long-term stay.
It was an extended stay hotel, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an extended stay hotel.
But it was nice. You're on the Upper West Side. Upper West Side is very nice.
That's the point in New York. I mean, the point in New York is not really your flat, your apartment. It's really the fact that you're in the middle of New York, especially at that age. I mean, what are you gonna do in your apartment?
Yeah. And on the upper, we used to go to this restaurant, Jacob's Pickles. How good was that place?
That's one of my favorites still to this day.
I'm gonna
The best
take my
breakfast
kids
of all
there.
time. Yeah, that's one of the best.
Yeah.
If I ever go to New York, I go to Jacob Pickles.
Yeah.
They had chicken and waffles. I think I used to. Eat.
Yeah, and biscuits and gravy.
That
They
one
would
too.
just smother it
Yeah.
in gravy.
But really nice food.
And there was such a long wait, and we would just wait there. And then finally, you just smother your face with biscuits and gravy.
Yeah,
and then,
then you had plans for the day, but you didn't make
it was
them.
done. You went home and died.
Yeah. You're like, actually, I'm going to go home. It's good seeing you.
I'm just going to die right now.
Let me know when you wake up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great time. New York was the best time.
New York was the shit. Would you live there?
Now, no.
No, because we got kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how
no.
people live there with kids. You got to be really rich.
Yeah, definitely. You have to send kids to private school.
Yeah.
You have to have drivers. I mean, it would be tough. And nannies.
Yeah.
Again, we don't have families over there.
I know. We were
a
just.
lot of the reason why I'm here in LA is because of my family's here.
Same here. My whole family's here. We were both born and raised in LA, and everyone hates on LA, but it's the best place in the world.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you go to Bakersfield?
I knew you would want to talk about Bakersfield because you want to just shit on me for that too.
And did you get valley fever when you were there?
I did get coxy. It was a difficult time. But no, that Bakersfield was a lot like New York in that you had that underserved patient population.
Yeah.
But again, it was not the same, nightlife, not the same presence as Manhattan. Absolutely not the same presence as Manhattan.
Yeah. I remember I went and
Can't even
visited
compare.
you. You had a nice place.
Yeah.
You had all your friends there. I remember I interviewed there for
That's
residency.
right. That's when you came. That's
And
the only time you came.
And I was like, I like to ride my
sense.
bike. They're like, you don't want to do that.
No, you can't ride your bike here.
The air quality is
Yeah.
so bad.
So they have small particle pollution there because of all the farmlands and all the what do they do? Plow the soil, and it just kicks up things that you shouldn't be inhaling, mostly fungal.
Yeah, and then you get coxy.
Then you get coxy. We had a great coxy program there, I gotta say.
Yeah, you know.
If I ever had a fungal infection, I'd go to Bakersfield.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
worry about any of these expensive hospitals in LA.
Yeah, nobody ever gets coxy in LA.
No.
I don't think maybe I've treated coxy once or twice.
Seen it once in Vegas, but not too much. Never
Yeah.
seen it here.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, it wasn't that long in Bakersfield. I remember it being short.
I was
short-lived.
so mad at you for going to Bakersfield.
You were absolutely right, and you were absolutely right. And I still, to this day, I feel like I missed out on a lot by leaving New York.
Yeah.
I would be probably the one thing I would take back is moving to Bakersfield. Even though I had good friends and everything out there, and the time wasn't too bad because I was close to home. I could go home for any holiday and that sort of thing. I think the experience in New York was significantly better.
Yeah.
But regardless, it wasn't too long. It wasn't extended, and then I moved to Vegas. That's where I did my residency and fellowship.
So you applied to residency, and did you rank Vegas highly? Second. What was number one?
Your hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, your hospital. Yeah.
That would have been amazing if we did residency together.
And it was a lot of the reason why I wanted to be there, because you had hyped it up so much when you were applying, and you were like, "Oh, look at this place." Remember, I went to the interview with you.
Yeah,
I went to the interview. I stayed in the hotel with you. We went to Joshua Tree after.
Yeah, it was my 30th birthday.
You were not in a great mood.
No, I was. I was on a. No, I mean.
But it was a fantastic. I enjoyed it. I was like, what an amazing residency that they're already taking this kind of care, because they pay for your hotel, they pay for your dinners, and then,
they were rich.
Yeah.
Do you know why I was in a bad mood on my 30th
I do
birthday?
remember. I do know all of that, and it's up to you if you want to discuss it. But
should I divulge my medical? So, I mean, so at the time in New York, I was pooping all the time. And then I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I lost so much weight. But now
you look great.
I looked awesome. I would go to the gym and be like, "Oh, I dropped a couple pounds. Good for me."
Yeah, I don't remember lifting and running this much.
Yeah. Now I'm at the IBD clinic and I'm on Stellara, and I've gained so much weight. There was a time,
mostly in his thighs. It's funny.
Yeah,
Every time I see you, I'm
thighs.
like, it's shocking how good your thighs are.
And then like, sometimes I wish I want my ulcerative colitis to be untreated. I don't know if I have ulcerative colitis now. I'm at the IBD clinic.
They're saying Crohn's now?
They're saying Crohn's, or like undifferentiated, but it's still the same management for both, so it doesn't really matter.
It happens to jump back and forth a lot.
I
It
know.
happens to jump back and forth a lot.
I know.
Maybe a GI doctor can come on board and say why that is, but it seems to be that every other GI doctor you go to, they're like, "Oh, that's ridiculous. This is Crohn's."
I ask my doctor, they're like, "Does it really matter? We're treating it the same way." I'm like, I just want to know what I should tell people.
I mean, there's different risk factors for each, but okay.
Now when I want to lose weight, I'm just going to go off just every 8-week injection, and it's totally under control.
Don't smoke cigarettes, but actually Crohn's disease, cigarettes.
Yeah, that's why I got the Zins.
Really?
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, I just love Zins. They got me hook, line, and sinker, and I'm totally addicted, but that's fine. But anyway, no, like my ulcerative colitis or Crohn's or inflammatory bowel disease was like on the interview trail. I was going like every hour and a half, and like,
Really?
oh yeah. And like, I would not absorb anything. That's why I looked so good. I was like, I thought I was doing well in the gym and everything. I ate whatever. I didn't even have an appetite. Like, I just didn't want to eat anything. And I mean, now it's totally fine. And then once I got it under control, every 2 days I would weigh myself another pound, and I'm like, why am I gaining so much weight? And I'm like, my body's like, we've been starving
for
a long time. And then, yeah. But yeah, interview trail, I would have to pull over.
That was your 30th birthday, right? We went to Joshua Tree.
Yeah. So, back to the 30th birthday. they put me on mesalamine, and my body just for some reason doesn't agree with mesalamine. I would have drenching night sweats and like feel like flu-like symptoms and everything like that.
I was like, let me hang out with you for a few days.
Yeah, we slept next to each other in the house, and like my bed was totally drenched, and I'm like, oh my God, this is totally miserable. And then finally we got under control with the biologics.
Joshua Tree is a great trip. I recommend it.
Oh yeah, this house we got
highly.
was amazing, and it was such a fun time.
How do you describe that house? A dome house?
It was like a geodesic dome, and it was like furnished beautifully. There was a hot tub,
sort of secluded by itself, almost like on a 2-acre lot.
You see every star in the sky, and
that's the point of Joshua Tree, I think, is to have a nice place, hot tub, barbecue, and a nice.
I burned a tri-tip. It was like the whole barbecue was up in flames.
Did they charge you for that?
No,
that was a brand new barbecue.
The lady was cool.
All right, good.
I was like, I got ulcerative colitis. Leave me alone. I used to be embarrassed about it. Now I don't care. But I was shitting like all the time. Like
that's because you got it under control.
Name a place I've shitted it. Like a CVS, the side of the road. Like
that's the side of the road.
One time,
did you really pull over and shit on the
one
side
time
of
on the way to Palm Springs, I was alone.
Too far.
It's too far. You gotta. And I went under an overpass, like on the 60. You know, like right before you go through the mountains on the 60. I just had to go, and it was right there. And then I got back in my car and went. It was bad. Like it was bad.
All right, that's good.
But that's why I look so good. That's why I'm fat now.
It's not a bad story, really.
I know.
It's not that embarrassing, really.
All right, back.
Say it like that.
Back to you. So you got in. You did your residency in Vegas. How was that program?
Wow, what a different experience Vegas was.
Yeah,
what a different experience. So again, you know, from the island to New York to Bakersfield, Las Vegas was like a completely different. You know, you have first off, it's a very international city.
Yeah.
A lot of good food, a lot of, obviously, you know, the nightlife is not something to.
Yeah, when I went and visited you, they have like such amazing Do you know they opened a Peter Luger there?
Yeah, I know, yeah. They have, I mean, to this day, I mean, and it's all so close together. It's so centralized. It's not like LA where, you know, you want to go to a nice restaurant. They're all pretty far away from each other now. But in Las Vegas, they're all like on the same road. And even off the strip, there were like really nice restaurants. And I really love the people out there. The medicine was, you know, again, pretty underserved. Nevada was one of the most underserved or underrepresented for physicians in the entire country. So being there, you ended up medically managing a lot of, you know, diseases that would be more procedural in, you know, states that have that sort of representation from subspecialists, but not in Nevada.
Yeah, because outside the strip, it's a normal underserved community.
Well, yeah, there's nice communities there too.
Yeah, you lived in a nice community, Summerlin.
Yeah, Summerlin is nice. Henderson is nice, and they're, you know, now that they're building and it's coming up, and a lot of LA money is going, or California.
No state income
transplants.
tax.
Yeah, are going over to Nevada, and it's, you know, you can get a nicer place for much less. So. It's really inflated the value out there, but it's a really good state to live in. It's a really good city. I don't know about state because I really didn't venture past Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a great city to live in. Not too far from LA. Easy hop. Easy hop over to LA.
Would you fly or drive back to LA?
Both, but mostly fly. Because the flight is like really in the air for 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would fly to Burbank Airport, which is close to our family. So it was very easy. But I loved it out there. Great people. I met a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, good attendings, great training.
You didn't have a malignant program? It was a good program?
I did not. My wife had a malignant program.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But that made her significantly stronger. I don't know if, you know, necessarily a Cush program is the best for people. And that's why this whole, like, transition to, you know, working hours and wellness and caps for patients, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing for a resident physician.
I was babied like a Wagyu beef cow.
But again, you know, it's what's the term? it's all relative, right? Because even in those sort of places, you get used to it, and then you get a lot of complaints. So I was the chief resident in residency.
Oh, how was that like?
So then, like you said, like in your last one, like I couldn't imagine how many complaints. It was usually the same people that were complaining. So it was like the boy who cried wolf sort of thing. So if you are ever the person who is the complainer, just know that you're morally more underrepresented by administration than those who don't say too much and only bring it up when it matters.
Yeah.
It was always like, hey, this guy is complaining about this, and the administration's like, well, that guy.
Yeah.
We'll have something next week.
Yeah, don't listen to that guy.
Yeah, don't listen to that guy.
So did you like being chief resident?
I was one of 3 chief residents, so it was not like so primarily focused on me taking care of everything. So it was not too bad. I would attend meetings and represent both the administration when I was in meeting with residents, and would represent the residents when I was in meetings with the more administrative people. Yeah. That's really what it was. You're just a liaison.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're a liaison. You're the voice of the residents and you're the voice of the administration. So you have to find a middle point in how much you're going to argue for either side. So when I was with the administration, I would argue for the residents, and when I was with the residents, I would argue for the administration. And that's kind of why they picked me, because I was very political.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think I came off as, somebody who doesn't, necessarily have problems with anybody.
Yeah.
Is, because I was never like the highest scorer. I was never bad, but I was clinically really, really good. So whenever I had attending, I think they would provide far more autonomy towards me than other residents. And I think that also helped with me getting that position.
Yeah. I interviewed at your program.
Yeah, I think you did.
And one question they asked me was like, what 3 people, living or dead, would you have dinner with? And then I answered, I started out by saying...
Kurt Cobain?
No. So I started out saying my grandpa.
Oh, good.
And then I could see their eyes gloss over. One guy actually went like we're going to hear this again. And then I just went, I was like, okay, I don't even have like a grandpa that I ever met. I lied in so many interviews.
Yeah, I mean, that's what interviews are.
And then I said and then Hunter S. Thompson and Stanley Kubrick. And then I talked about them. And then they started getting my attention. And then went out to dinner that night at some hibachi place. And then they really liked me. And I ranked it pretty high. It would have probably been my second choice at that program.
Yeah.
Man, we should have went to residency together.
Oh, man, it would have been a different story.
Or do you think we would have hated each other?
No, we would have never hated each other.
No.
We would spend too much time together to hate each other. We would have hated each other far, far closer.
Yeah.
Far sooner, far sooner.
You know what my mom told me the other day? I was like, I'm starting a podcast with Joe. And then we got to talking how we're such best friends and we love each other so much. And even our wives are like, why? Isn't it a little weird how much they like each other?
What's wrong with these two?
My mom actually admitted, I'm like, for a while there, I thought you were gay. I'm like, he's just my good friend. A man can't be friends with another man.
We were close. We're close. That's the problem. Sometimes we're too close.
Yeah.
We've slept in the same bed too many times.
Yeah. Your speech
as adults, we weren't young. we were too old to be sleeping in the same bed together.
It's no big deal.
That's the thing what people don't realize too, is when you're a medical student, you're a resident, you're really quite broke.
Yeah.
You're really quite broke.
Yeah. Your speech at my wedding as the best man, you were you ended it with because we went on a trip to Montauk together, just me and you and the Hamptons and all that stuff. We're let's just see what it's about when we're in New York. And you ended the speech so perfectly, we'll always have Montauk. Yeah.
Well, I brought it up in the beginning and I said, I'm not going to talk about it. It's not an appropriate thing to say at your wedding. I just wanted to scare you a little bit, but yeah.
No, it was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, your birthdays, we went to some nice places.
Yeah.
We did some nice things for your birthday.
Yeah.
My birthdays, we get kicked out of bars.
Oh, yeah. I got kicked out of a bar in New York.
Because I broke so holy of a day as yours.
I think I was partying all day.
Yeah, you were. You were. On my birthday, you went on a boat trip and got drunk before you even started to have...
You're why would you do this? It's my birthday. And then I was just like,
You were never careful with my feelings. I think that's why we have such a
no.
great relationship, is because there's no filter when it comes to our conversations, when it comes to our communication. There's absolutely none. There's no
Yeah.
way you could hurt my feelings because I know everything is genuine. And
I think I hurt your feelings one time. Remember when we were hungover that one time in my apartment? You're like, and I was just, when you wake up hungover, you're like anxious, and I was like such a dick to you.
yeah,
I,
you've been a dick to me many times, but I always put into perspective. I know when you're just being,
you're like,
cranky
Mike,
Mike.
why are you being so mean to me? I'm like, sorry, man. And then I just clicked, and then we were cool. Okay, back. You're a chief resident. You
And then-
finished. When did you want to go into critical care?
So I never did critical care rotations in medical school. So I never even thought that was an option for me. It wasn't until residency when we actually had pretty good critical care rotations, and they were a significant part of every year. I mean, 2-3 months minimum every year. And I really came to love. I love the acuity.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that I could see, changes in people very quickly, and I love the conversations and, being a part of that sort of culture. I loved it in residency, but I really, at the same time, you're doing a residency rotation. You don't really know how deep critical care is until you're in attending. But
Yeah.
I grew to love it, and I realized like maybe this is what I want to do. And it wasn't until third year that I had a really good mentor who was the head of critical care there. Excellent physician. Somebody I actually looked up to and wanted to be like. And there was a lot of good mentors I had throughout med school and residency, but this one was a little bit different. So, after speaking with him and, discussions regarding, future, I really, there was nothing other than that I wanted to do. Even though I loved internal medicine, I could have been a hospitalist. I would have enjoyed it. Critical care was like my number one.
Yeah.
And then it would have been hospitalist, I think. I don't think I would have done another subspecialty if it wasn't for critical care.
Yeah. You're a very personable guy. I would want you to tell me my grandma's dying rather than anyone else. I feel like you have a good rapport with patients, and like, you know how to like talk to people because you're so loving, and like, you're like a golden retriever.
Yeah. I remember interview questions, and they were like, you're going to deal with a lot of like death and a lot of hard conversations and that sort of thing. How are you going to like, remove yourself? How are you going to like handle this? And a lot of, and then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't necessarily want to be too jaded, and I don't want to like be able to disassociate from those conversations. I also want to feel in those conversations too. I think it's also important.
Interesting.
Not to necessarily take it home and it become, a burden, but also somebody who is able to, feel a little bit, because I mean, people can tell.
Oh yeah.
People can tell.
I feel like I'm a pretty good actor when I have to break bad news and stuff. I listened to, do you know Chris Voss? He wrote the book Never Split the Difference. He was like a hostage negotiator. So I took a piece of his, and he always said, let them know bad news is coming. So I always open him like, all right, I got bad news is coming. And then whatever you say after that doesn't seem as bad because they're already prepared for the worst. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, I feel like I'm good at it. Sometimes, I mean, you know how it is. You got a million things to do. You have to have a family meeting, and you have to be there present at that time. But you might have another crashing patient or anything like that. So you got to get to the point and like just go for it and let them know like what the best course of action is, what your opinion is, and then you honor whatever they want for their family member or anything like that.
Right.
But I feel like that's your strong suit, and I feel like that's why you're a good critical care doctor.
Yeah, because a lot of critical care is not just in the medicine, but it's in the family conversations. I mean, it's in the social.
Yeah. No, because with anything, hospitalist critical care, it becomes routine. You know how to like manage event and sepsis, whatever it may be. It becomes
reflex, right?
Bread and butter. That's the easy part, is the medicine.
Easy part, right.
But it's just managing the family. I think that's why I deterred from critical care, because it would have taken a toll on me to have family meetings every day. Even now when I have family meetings, sometimes it's like you know what the right answer is. Like, this patient should pass. They have metastatic cancer everywhere. Like, you guys are the family's trying to hold on, but what's best for the patient is like to let them go.
Yeah, because they're in a suffering state. And I always say, like, there's worse things than death. And suffering before you die
I
is
know.
significantly worse. It's not a gray, it's a black and white. I mean, there's no question about suffering before you die is far worse than, passing.
Yeah, my friends asked me, like, I always tell them, like, if I were on like, I do not want to die in a hospital. I don't want to do any of that. Like, even the conversations I have with my dad, he's really elderly right now. I know he would not want to die in a hospital. So that's not something I would do. Like, if I had cancer, I would not do a last ditch treatment or anything like that. I lived a great life.
Right.
I know from seeing so much of it that I would just want to pass.
But everybody comes to terms with that at different times. And that's why I am, it's not the same for you. You have experience with it, but I understand.
Yeah, I know.
Particularly laymen's, and maybe this is their first parent, this is their first time dealing
Oh,
with that
yeah.
sort of thing, and
And I think that's what deterred me from it, because I'm pretty objective, and I'm like, there's not, you're doing a disservice to your dad, your mom, grandma by letting her hold on for this longer. We could keep her alive as long as you want. She could be intubated, trached, and do all
Right.
that. We'll keep her alive, but
Right.
it's up to you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of the conversation too. Like, I can keep her alive, but the quality there is absolutely gone.
Yeah.
But again, it's about honesty. I never sacrifice honesty for somebody's feelings, and that really has come across really well for me.
Good.
Yeah, no matter what, even though they don't like what I'm saying, when I'm being honest, sometimes it's like comes off a little bit, difficult to digest, but it never is without its respect and understanding of it.
Yeah. That's why you're a great critical care doctor.
Yeah, I loved my critical care residency. Again, I did that in Vegas.
Yeah, where Tupac died.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was a great program, and it was in the heart and the worst part. It started the critical care residency at the worst part of COVID. I mean, when it started, and I'm in ICU, dealing with patients, far more patients than I possibly could. ARDS, which is like the sequelae of the COVID disease.
Yeah, we both started our attending
right.
career. Even residency was, I was in the height of COVID,
Right.
and nobody knew what was going on. And
I still don't talk about it. It's almost like a trauma that, like,
really,
yeah, I don't even talk about it. Because you undermine it. You can't discuss it because you can't explain it like you would like to. You can never get across how bad it was. Having conversations with multiple families a day about how their people are dying.
Yeah.
And when you're in the ICU, that's really a lot of the conversations.
Yeah, I know.
And it was tough on me because I went from like, hey, medical school and residency, ICU was not necessarily, it's a high death rate because you're the ICU, but not to the extent that COVID was. And those sort of conversations took a toll on me, but it also made me better. And again, that's where it goes back to like the wellness and the caps and those sort of things. Because if I didn't have that sort of experience, I don't think I would be the person and doctor I am today. It doesn't get easier. Life doesn't get easier when you're attending. You can either get better or you can stay,
I totally agree with that. I mean, now it's on you to learn things and change how you learn. Because someone told me in residency, like, you're going to practice medicine how you learned in residency. And I find myself falling back to everything I learned, even though it might be outdated practice or something new. Like, I'm like, this is how we did it in residency, so this is how I'm going to do it now. But it's up to you as an attending to like really hone your skill, and then no one's going to teach you anything anymore.
No.
So it's up to you.
It's up to you to read. It's up to you to stay up to date, and it's up to you to learn as you practice. It's active learning, but you don't do yourself a service by having less during those times of training. When you have somebody who's also overlooking what you do, full autonomy. I think every resident and every fellow should have full autonomy, and then somebody overlooking.
Yeah.
Somebody checking up, because you're not so prepared at that time, but you need to start to become that. And you can't become that when somebody's telling you what to do.
Yeah. I got to that point. My residency was like really good. So at night, the ICU senior resident would run the show, and then the attending was at home, and you can call them for anything.
Right.
So my strategy was, okay, like, they trust me, but I'm going to call them for everything at first and then let them get annoyed with me.
Right.
And then they'll know that like I'm on top of it and I know what I'm doing. And then by the end of my rotation, like I wasn't calling them at all.
Right.
Sign out to them in the morning and do like everything like that. Oh, my kid is going crazy.
But
out
you
there.
have to build that confidence. You want to go get her?
No, we're almost done.
Okay.
Okay. So now you're in attending in critical care. I mean,
and I love it. I absolutely love it. And it comes down to, it gives me my personal life that I want, you know, and I can't live without. I don't want to have more days on, which I can, but I would rather not. You know, I get questions all the time, like, you work at another hospital, and, you know, I work 14 days a month, and I really enjoy those 15, 16 days I have off.
Nice.
In that month. And I will never change that. And, you know, I love the time that I'm there, and I love the people I work with, and I love my patient population. And, you know, I'm taking care of a lot of my same culture.
Yeah.
In my same area.
Yeah, I get the Armenian families.
Yeah.
They're the most intense.
They're you know, they are intense.
Yeah.
We're emotional. We're an emotional culture.
And you guys will fill a waiting room with every member of the family.
We have big families, and we're all very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's especially tough when you're a physician having to, you know, discuss with a room of 20, but it's definitely rewarding at the same time.
All right. I mean,
there's difficult times.
That's Joe's story. It was good. We've done an hour.
Really?
Yeah. All right. That was test episode 2. Please, we're not giving any medical advice. Do not listen to us.
I don't think we did.
I know, just in case, so nobody sues us.
Okay.
Our email is offcallpod@gmail.com. I'm Mike. That's Joe.
Put the music on.
We're both doctors in LA. Let's do some outro music.
Let's do it. So the program made this?
No, you buy this royalty-free music.
Wow. Excellent. So this is ours?
This is ours. We just have to give credit. All right, see you guys.